Happy Wednesday. It's Heidi Allen, founder of the Positive People Army. How is everyone? It is Wednesday. It is Positive Word Wednesday. And today I want the word to be something that is impactful in our life. And one of the most impactful words that we do as humans, and we literally do it to ourselves, is when we compare ourselves to another. So Positive Word Wednesday today is going to be comparison. And so I want to share a story with all of you, a powerful story about what comparison actually means and how at the end of the day, it truly is just appearances. So this old story takes place in a village where a samurai lives. And this particular samurai, well, he is brave, he's courageous, he is noble, he is honest, he is someone that has looked death in the eyes many times, he has fought many battles, he has defended so many people in the town. He is someone that the town regards as a human being who is everything they want to be. But here's the thing. The samurai doesn't feel that way because there's a monk that also lives within this town, and he lives kind of up on the mountain in a temple. And this particular monk, well, he is patient. He is very positive and wise, and he sits in his temple. And day after day, people go up to visit him in his temple, and he gives them advice and he listens to them. And the samurai knows this. And he hears all the time throughout the town people talking about the monk and how wise he is and how loving he is. And so finally, the samurai, feeling so inferior compared to this monk, he decides to pay him a visit. So he shows up one morning and he says to the monk, "I don't understand. I need to ask you a question. You are supposed to be a wise human being, so I need to ask you why it is that myself, who is a brave, courageous, honest, and noble person I know I am, why do I feel so inferior compared to you?" And so the monk says, "I hear you. I hear what you are saying. But as you can see, I have a long lineup of villagers who have booked appointments to speak with me today. So if you don't mind waiting in the gardens, I will speak to you at the end of the day." So the samurai sits in the garden and patiently waits, and he watches as one villager after another goes in to see the monk. And every time they go in, the monk is so patient with them and always smiling and just gives them such an air that they just feel taken care of. So he watches this throughout the entire day. And finally, the sun has set. It is nighttime. The monk comes to him in the garden and says to him, "I will now speak with you. Come follow me," he says. And so he takes him into this room that has windows throughout one whole side of the room. And he says, "I want you to look up at that moon. Look at it. Look at how glorious and beautiful that moon is, how it's shining over the village. And that moon, as you can see, will be there for the entire night. It will shine on the village as we are in darkness. It is the only light that we have. But you see, when daytime comes, the moon will disappear and the sun will come out. And when the sun comes out, it is bright and shiny. And all of a sudden now, when you look down over the village, you can see all the houses, and you can see the lake, and you can see all the gardens. You see, the sun is its own entity. It's bright, it shines. But so is the moon," the monk says. "Look at the moon. But would you say to me that they are the same? Or would you say they are different? How would you explain them?" And so the samurai says, I have no idea what you're talking about. Of course they are different. One is the sun, shines bright. One is the moon, and yes, it casts some light over the town, but it is a completely different thing up in the sky. And so the monk says to the samurai, do you feel that one is better than the other? And he said, you can't compare them. You can't compare the moon and the sun. They are completely different. And so the monk said, there you are, samurai. You have your answer. The sun in all its glory is one thing, but the moon, even in all its glory, is something completely different. It doesn't make one better than the other. The only difference is appearance. And so this is what I want to get across to all of you today. We spend our time comparing ourselves one to another, but if you look at this story, you are the sun, and the person you are comparing yourself to, or whatever it is the moon. You are completely different. You do completely different things. You look completely different. You can't compare yourselves and say you are the same because you're not. And that's the thing, guys. It's just that simple. You also can't go through life comparing yourself. If one person is more successful than you can't compare yourself, because what is the struggle and strife that it has taken them to get to where they are? Has it been? Whenever you hear the Grammy Awards, they get up and say, I can't believe I'm new artist of the year. I've been doing this for 10 years. So how can you compare yourself to someone that maybe has been doing what they have been doing for 10 years? And if you have just started, how can you compare yourself? You are, like the saying goes, apples to oranges. You can't compare an apple to an orange because they're different. So I just want you to remember this story. The next time you're scrolling on social media and that feeling comes up and that comparison makes you feel inferior, there's no reason for you to feel inferior, because that's just appearances. You are the sun and they are the moon. Two are incredible things, but you can't compare them. Therefore, you can't be inferior. The sun is not in the sky feeling inferior to the moon, and the moon is not in the sky feeling inferior to the sun, because they're different. And that's what makes up this beautiful world. So, Positive Word Wednesday, comparison. How have you dealt with comparison in the past before? What are some things that you have done to help yourself when you're feeling inferior to move on? Because you guys are fabulous. Have a great day. Thanks for joining me.